That looks a little crazy.
I know, I stopped right.
Hey gang.
Hi.
How we doing?
Real quick, of course we want to say hello to everybody. We see a lot of we see a lot of people here that we know, of course, people that come and see us a few different times, and we see a lot of people we just met today for the first time. So thanks for coming, and you know, it's a Saturday, so you could be doing quite a lot of different things, you know.
It's true.
There's movies,
Yes.
concerts,
Yes.
but you're here with us, so that's very nice. Thank you. So that's very cool. We're very happy to be here. We haven't been able to come here since we filmed here, so this is a nice treat for us as well. This is going to be quite fun. Tango?
It's gonna be fun.
That's cool.
It's all written out.
That's
No, I
It's different every time.
I could kind of tell that I was only going to get one sentence, so that's when, you know, I knew Dave, and, you know, but,
I usually hold signs.
Yes? they come through quite fast. Yeah, they were going to get attacked. So in any case, the point of that is thanks very much for coming. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be here till late, you know, 2 a.m. And during the end of it, you get a bit of a free-for-all.
Free for all.
Yeah, so you just kind of go anywhere you want.
big mosh pit in the middle.
And that's always a lot of fun.
Who's from Canada? I'm just curious. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Aren't you guys?
And do you watch on the Space Channel?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well. What's that stick for again?
Outdoor Lighting Network.
Hey. Thanks. Okay, that's cool. Well, thanks. How did you guys get here?
Car.
You drove? Now, did you have to go through a custom?
We told them we were coming to see you.
You did? What did they say?
They laughed.
They laughed. They wanted to avoid you?
No, you want to come down with us?
Oh, okay.
I'd love to go join them.
Well, you should take it. It'd be a good friend to have. Border Patrol. That's cool. Well, thanks. That's very nice. Real quick, how many people have been here before?
Wait, Fort Niagara or Fort Niagara or your close?
To, well,
Fort Niagara.
To Fort Niagara. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. That's quite a bit of people. That's cool. How many have been here to look for paranormal, you know?
Those?
Yes, thank you.
Those things.
How many people here have been here before doing that sort of thing?
One person.
One, two,
All right. Okay. Guys are shy. Like, I don't know.
three. Don't make fun of the audience. Just.
You guys are like this off camera as well.
Yeah, we smack each other.
Tell them like what?
In any case, that's been fun. There's only been 3 people here that have done that before, so for a lot of us, well, not us, but for a lot of you, it's going to be your first time here in that in that situation.
The situation.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Dave?
I'm just laughing.
Okay, cool. Just kidding. Obviously, we didn't come here just to yammer, but we did want to talk about a few things quickly before taking some questions. We've been told this is going to be Q&A, but the last time we were here, they told us that there was somebody killed next to the well. Do you remember that?
No.
That's where we, unfortunately,
Oh, right. Yes.
right.
Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, there were some bats, unfortunately, but a lot of bats were sort of. But,
Pearl Avenue. It's hard.
yeah, we did crawl out of there. But in any case, they told us that somebody had been blown up there, remember? And then they fell down the well. Yeah, in the head.
What?
Yeah, you
Where
remember?
was I?
You were there? Oh, you don't go on the tour?
I don't go on the
Excuse me,
tour.
yeah. Dave doesn't go on the tour, he just knows where the cameras, excuse me. But sometimes he does.
You're in the back for it.
In any case, that happened there. And there has been some unfortunate circumstances here that unfortunately allow us to do what we're doing. You know, it's unfortunate for
Dramatic events.
traumatic events. You know, help push along what we're doing. So, that made it tough. What else happened when we were here before? We heard footsteps.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
that was
That
awesome.
was cool.
Anybody else remember anything about this place in terms of paranormal? That's right. See, a lot of times, because Jason and Grant, they'll be investigating, and unless we watch the episode, we don't necessarily know what happens to them. You know? If there's no visual or audio evidence to back it up, we wouldn't have seen it. So a lot of times, we don't really know what goes on with those guys until we talk to you. Thanks, Mike. Anything else you know about those guys?
Not this case.
No? Thanks. Okay, gang, we'll open it up to some questions. Excuse us for rambling. And it can be about anything,
I'm
of
not
course.
rambling.
Well, every time I throw it to you, I get one word.
I'm not rambling.
That's true. You got me again. Jeez. It could be about anything, of course. The show, the field, what we do, everything. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Have you ever captured any evidence that may have been too shocking or intense to show on your show? And what was it?
He asked if there's ever been any evidence that was too shocking
Or intense?
or intense to show on our show. Excuse me. There was a case one time, Tango, I'm going to mention this, and I apologize you weren't there.
I know.
Although you may have heard of it, where there was a possession case, which we don't, excuse me, which we don't get involved in too often, you know, but we have. And it was really intense. A woman would go under and would really use violent and means to get her message across. But the network or the production company, one of the two, decided it would draw too much attention to that family, and that would just not be good for their situation. So they decided not to air that, and we supported that decision. Of course, we understand that. But that was really intense. There was an instance where religious, aside, this isn't about that, but there was a little jar of holy water that started to boil on its own. But that was during the first season, and back then we had the assistance of Keith Carl Johnson. Dave, do you remember anything that didn't make it to air just because it was maybe too? Just to add on to that.
No?
Well, that sums it up.
I'll be honest. Dave was the only person on the planet who can get away with saying, "I have nothing to say," and everybody laughs. I admire that.
Thank you.
If I was like, nothing to say, people would be like, what a douche.
Watch your mouth, the children.
Excuse me.
I think
That just means,
What a nice guy.
dirt.
excuse me. You're right, Dave. Thank you.
What a dirt.
Don't rub salt in the wound. Dirtbag. Please. There was a lady back there. Yes, sorry.
Did you, one of the first episodes I ever watched was in the penitentiary when Ryan took off running and screaming everything. I mean, it was an excellent episode.
Thanks.
Have you ever come across something that made you want to run and scream like a girl?
Spiders.
Spiders, yeah, of course.
Bats.
We all sort of run from spiders and bats.
They're here.
But what's nice is that people know about my phobia in terms of the crew and Tango, of course. So all of us like sit down at a picnic table, and Tango will be like, "I already checked, don't worry." I'm like, "Thanks, man." And one time we were all having a barbecue with this family after we investigated there, invited us back to have this barbecue with them. Really, really nice family, and we all had a blast. But that place has a lot of spiders, and usually they spray every year. But the daughter happened to be pregnant. It was an island. Excuse me. So they couldn't spray that year. So they were rampant. And sat down, and they started crawling towards my plate. Remember that? And there people were flicking them away for me. It was horrible.
I get the heebie-jeebies thinking about it.
Traumatizing, wasn't it?
But in terms of the paranormal, I tend to embrace that sort of situation. So it doesn't get to me in that way. But what about you?
What was the question?
Remember how Brian
Oh, right.
ran out? Have we ever encountered anything that would make us react that way? More people, to be honest with you.
Yeah, people, animals, of course.
Animals like the sun. I tell you what, you remember that time? We hear a crazy noise from behind a brick wall.
Wait, is this when we're upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's noise behind a brick wall. Have no idea what it is. Excuse me. No idea what it is. Maybe it's a ghost, who knows?
We're here.
So I take a stick, and I'm tapping. What are you doing? You know, whatever I'm saying, I'm tapping really good. And all of a sudden, straight out to my face was an animal. Do you remember that? It was a bat? A hissing bat. Came right out like this. And I'm screaming, and Dave didn't know what happened, but for some reason...
There was a desk right here, and he just goes backwards, falls into the I'm like, what's going on? Let's get out of here, let's go.
No, that's not what you said. Tango screams. He doesn't even know what's happening. He just screams. He sees me fall on the table, and he just screams. I'm not going to say the expletive. He screams, "Let's get the F out of here!" But he has no idea what he's screaming about. He fell on the ground. And he screams, "Let's get the F out of here!" And he runs down the stairs.
You followed him.
I followed it, of course. I'm the one that saw the darn thing.
That was fun, man. That was fun.
Animals. Yeah.
How's Donna?
How's the dog?
Oh, Donna.
Maddie's awesome. Excuse me?
Donna.
Donna, excuse me. I haven't talked to Donna. Last time I talked to Donna was unfortunately during that TAPSCon.
That was a while
Which
ago.
was about 5 years ago. Last I knew, she was starting up a biodiesel company, taking like restaurants.
Science.
Yeah, science. You know how they do that. They collect the fat from fast food restaurants and turn it into diesel fuel. She was doing that. I think she's doing good. Yes, miss?
Why did she leave? Can't say.
Well, it's more like it was really to start a business, I believe. I mean, she had some other issues, I'm sure, but it was really just, last I talked to her, she said she was starting a bio.
She was happy.
Diesel,
You know?
yeah.
Sweet girl.
Yeah. Donna was
I miss her.
I did miss her. She was fun. I remember being on a case once just singing Maroon 5 at the top of our lungs. And then finally, I think it was Jason ran out and was like, "It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're trying to investigate." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." Wow. She was fun. Sorry. Dave, you can choose someone. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, let me choose someone. All right. You.
Next question.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No.
Why are some apparitions dark versus an apparition people see where they can make up their clothes, their face, if it's a man or a woman?
Well, I mean, some people think that the darker ones are what they call elementals, in theory, or something that's inhuman. But again, these are all theories. And when you see them in detail, I mean, honestly, it just all depends. We don't really exactly know yet why. You know? You make the faces?
No. No, I was literally saying, I'd like that right now. They're pretty cool. This is a cool building. Nice job, Mark.
So anyway, I mean, people say that, they see these people that are wearing the same clothes that, they always used to wear. We don't really know exactly why, but that's what we're doing. We're trying to find out why. We're trying to find patterns. Why are they wearing those clothes in that certain date? Is it a residual haunting? Are they wearing the clothes that they were buried in? It's just, still a question.
Nice. I'm sorry. Please.
We did an episode at the psychiatric hospital, I think it was in Buffalo, I'm not sure, where you actually both crawled into those tubes.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Yes,
Yeah,
how
West
did
in
you
West
get the
Virginia.
nerve to do that?
It was actually amazing. You remember?
Just to do it.
We literally were down. Nobody, a lot of people were like, they set that up for that's cool. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We were literally down in the tunnels, and I'm like, Dave, this is where the morgue is. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like,
Whoa.
oh, yeah. But I'm just like, we should go in. Like, when will we ever have a chance to lock ourselves
That's
in?
one of the reasons why we do it, because how many other chances
I know.
do we get?
Why would you want to?
Oh, it was
We
amazing.
caught something.
It was so cool.
We mean,
done
we
something.
caught that
Yeah.
female voice in there.
We caught a female voice.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we know that we're the only ones that
We were the only ones that were in there, and we tested it, because we don't believe anything. We really don't. We get to the bare bones. But I literally put Dave in there. I mean, I didn't put him in there. He volunteered. Dave went in there, and we were banging on the outside of the thing. We were hitting him with crutches and everything, just to make sure that it truly
You were
was.
trying to scare me a few times, because he would be quiet. I'm like, Steve, you're still there, because he had to open the door for me to get out.
Yeah.
And then he'd be quiet. I'm like, no, he didn't just leave. And then he'd have a stick, I guess. He had a stick of some kind.
Sure
And
did.
he'd wait for like 5 minutes, and I'm still, Steve, I'm like, I just gave up. Oh! Into the thing. Got it. Good friend.
But you know what they did say to us before we even crawled in there? The producer was like, hey, we don't know if this thing will ever be able to open again. You crawl in there and close those doors, it may be 2 days until we can get a locksmith up there or someone with an arc welder. And Dave and I were like, we just ate dinner.
It wasn't a good thing. We locked up in the
Yeah.
place. We just ate dinner.
I mean, it probably would have been pretty fun. Anyway, next question. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was cool. There was nothing to be scared of. But we got out easy, and something was in there with us. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm glad we did it. Yeah, we caught something.
That was one of the only times that we knew we were in a soundproof.
Right.
Probably the only time we know we were in a soundproof area, and that camera in there with us was able to pick that voice up. And there was no IR or RF interference, no electronics, nothing. It was just
It
cool.
was awesome.
Sorry, please.
What's your favorite tool for data collection?
Ooh.
Data collection.
I don't know. I guess I like just a recorder, because you actually get information. I mean, it's awesome, of course, if you catch an apparition of some kind. Obviously, that's the Holy Grail. But to actually get information from them, I mean, now you're learning about what's on the other side, what's going on over there. So, it's kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You get something that wasn't there, and now you have a bit more information to kind of help you with your further investigation.
You know what was cool, and it was actually really cool. It was Tango's idea with that sort of thing. Me and your audio recording. He said, excuse me. What if these things do communicate through some sort of frequency or whatever? Maybe they can't hear the vocal tone.
But that's why we're catching them on our recorders, but not hearing it with their ears.
Right.
So why not reverse the process?
Right. So we recorded our questions and what we were saying onto a recorder, and then played it back electronically through speakers. And for some reason, I don't remember exactly why, it didn't quite edit together the way it happened.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
we literally got 15? No, we got tons, yeah. We got maybe 5 or 6 solid ones, solid EVPs.
But that's when we only played it back.
Yeah.
We heard 5.
But do you remember when we were listening back?
It was a whole
It was boom, boom, boom.
When they were
Holy cow.
They were voices. It's always me with
I deal with that management.
You got a sketchy one.
New microphones, please.
check.
So, subliminal. He's out there going, what? New microphones. Just kidding. So that was cool.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, it's a good. We haven't done that in a little while.
No, but it yielded a good amount of results, and that was Mackinac, or Mackinac, or Mackinac. Yes, Miss, with the taxpayermagazine.com. Get it while you can. Get it while it's hot. Sweatshirt. Just kidding. Thank you.
Okay,
Please.
well, I'm a teacher, so that's why I'm asking.
You're a teacher?
Yeah.
And you support the Taxpayer magazine? That must mean it has journalistic value.
Working me for reading.
Oh. Hey, wait, she's right. No, there's comic strip in there. Thank you.
Okay, so the TV show shows that it's pretty safe. No one doesn't appear that anyone has ever gotten hurt or broken an arm. But you're going into these old places. I mean, someone has the trip once in a while, or someone never broken an arm.
Close.
Fall through attics.
Yeah. Grant,
Oh, great.
may I?
Yeah, please.
Grant, a place sort of rigged some stuff for us. And,
Not for us.
not for us, but rigged some stuff, and we ended up finding it out. And Grant, but it was broken. And Grant went up into the roof and fixed it for him, but fell through. See how do you remember when Dave,
Steve.
he was at the time the director of photography, he was recording us and fell through the
That was in
attic.
New Jersey.
That was in Jersey.
Yeah.
But no serious injuries then.
Kendall got hurt pretty bad. when
Kendall got hurt.
one of our
It was a
camera guys-
battleship.
in a battleship.
Yeah.
Was that the armory?
No, that was Frank. That,
That's a good one.
Wow.
He got hurt.
Yeah, I did. Frank was a camera, a sound. Unfortunately, Tango, this is before your
I
time.
know.
One of the best cases we ever been on. No, this was a 45-year-old man. Doesn't even really believe in the paranormal. He's actually, every time we come up with evidence, he'd be like, oh, I don't know. This could be. We're like, Frank, we're listening, or whatever. But he was a really nice guy, and he's just there, and he's got both of his feet on the ground, and his arms on the boom mic like this, and he's recording us, and all of a sudden his audio bag comes up and hits him right underneath the jaw and knocked him backwards.
That's great evidence right there.
Yeah. And what actually happened, what we did is we were using the thermal camera as well, and you can actually see where his neck and jaw was all inflamed and was really red and hot.
That thing's heavy, too.
Yeah, that thing's heavy. About 80 pounds or so. No.
80
30 pounds. Yeah.
30.
They'd be like,
20.
He left after that?
He came around for like 2 more episodes, but you remember, he wasn't the same.
No.
Like when you knew him, you knew him for about 2 episodes or so, but at first he'd be like, hey guys, what's this? Eating fruit roll-ups and stuff, like he was really cool, whatever, but after that he would stand like this, always against the wall.
Traumatized.
And like never look around. He'd be like, Frank? He'd be like, yeah. Yeah. But I don't know.
Poor Frank.
Yeah, no, that's sad. Yes, please.
Do you guys actually review all your own evidence like they show on the show for hours and hours on end?
Absolutely.
You have people to do it for you.
No, we review our evidence.
That would be nice.
It would be nice. But I
Let's
don't
take
think
care of that.
we wouldn't trust anyone, though. We review our evidence. But
Yeah, no, that would be. We do every second of it, and yeah, and they make sure we're doing it. Like the executive producers, they're always be checking in. How's it going, guys? Yeah, it was a great case. You find anything? Can you let us know? Give us, we need more time. Like, we keep going, guys. It's been hours, but yeah.
Takes a long time.
Every second you review every second. No fast forwarding. No pause. Well, you can pause that. Can't sneeze.
You pause, then you sneeze.
Well, then you say.
How many hours does that take?
As long as investigation.
Depends, 50, 60, 70 hours? Yeah. But there's 4 of us, 5 of us.
We get it done.
Remember when it was just us?
I
A
know.
long time?
I know.
See, me and Dave, oh, God, how are we gonna do this? They have to give us like 3, 4 days, 5 days just to review everything.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Good money, a lot of overtime.
Overtime.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever had anything follow you home after an investigation?
No. Guess if we've ever had anything follow us home during an investigation.
The closest thing for me, and I don't know if I fully believe it, but I went off for the first time with these guys. We're a month into California, and I come back and I see my aunt, and she has this dog, and I grew up with this dog, and it doesn't bark often, whatever. And as soon as I get into the house, the dog's barking at me, but not at me, to the side of me, and it keeps barking, and that was kind of strange. Like, first off, the dog doesn't act like that, and she knows me. And barking to the side of me, what is she barking at? Now my aunt, every time I go over there, she thinks I'm bringing something. So, all the time. But I don't know that, it could just be an animal acting strange. They see things we don't, doesn't mean it's paranormal, so.
Tango? Yeah? We're wasting valuable time. Yes, red hair in the back. Sure.
Is there any case that stands out as being more like emotionally impactful than like the rest of them?
A case that is more emotionally impactful than others.
I have one.
Yes, please.
There's actually a piece of evidence that I caught personally. It was, I forget where exactly, it was at a house where a mother just passed away, and her daughter now lives with the aunt. And I'm listening to the recorder, and it's Steve and Chris Williams, and I hear them ask, what's your name? And I hear a voice, a female voice, it was not Chris, and it sounded to me at the time like Chelsea. It just said Chelsea. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. Like Steve was saying before, producers are always calling us, and he called me, and I said, yeah, I got this really crazy EVP, and he's like, awesome. He's like, all right, let me know if you get anything else. And then I think a day later, he calls me again, and his tone was much different. He's like, Tango, you won't believe this. I'm like, what? He's like, that piece of evidence you caught, we found out the maiden name of the mother who passed away. And I'm like, okay. And he said, I'm getting chills thinking about it, because it's just amazing. He said, the name is Chesney. And then I listened back to it, and that it's definitely saying Chesney. And no one knew that maiden name. So right there, that's absolute proof that was her, to me.
Yes, in the back. First paranormal experience. Tango?
Fort Mifflin,
Fort Mifflin.
I have to say. Well,
What happened at Fort Mifflin?
I'm not gonna you know this.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. I was walking into the men's bathroom, going into the men's bathroom. I looked to my left where the women's bathroom was, and I saw.
The way I heard the story was, I was in the women's bathroom. And, really, Dave?
No, I'm walking into the men's bathroom. I looked to my left, and it looked like someone was about to
The
leave.
clearly marked women's bathroom.
Was about to leave the bathroom and went right back in, and I blocked the light and everything. And to the point where I didn't think it was a ghost. I just thought it was a
And then you got arrested.
So I go towards the women's bathroom. I don't go into it yet.
What's in there?
And I'm asking, who's in there? Are you hiding from me? What's going on? So I really thought it was a person.
See, I can picture that. Are you hiding? Yes. And the lady.
And so I didn't get anything, no response.
I saw your legs.
And Who was that?
You're
Oh, yeah.
in the ladies' bathroom.
Ladies' bathroom.
We all know that.
And I'm asking if there's anyone there, no response. And then, I'm like, okay, I'm coming in, I have to come in. And you're trying to.
That's what we all do. Anybody there in the women's bathroom? Okay, I'm coming in. Let's check it.
And so I go in there, there wasn't anyone in there, and that's the end of the story. Okay. Put all that in there.
In all honesty, he did have quite an experience.
I was excited.
Enough that he wanted to set a camera up. And review those tapes. I was wondering why we were yelling. The women's room is open.
Every time you hear this story.
What's some of the things you've seen while you were, since you've been a paranormal investigator?
She asked your favorite women's bathroom. Since you've been a paranormal investigator. Just kidding, please. That was a serious question. She said your favorite experience. First amazing thing.
Most amazing.
Most amazing.
Reverse psychology on this. For me, probably either that, what I just talked about, or in Ireland, when Justin got Tango, and we caught a face, and to me that was really cool. It's a really creepy face, happened really fast.
What? You saw a face?
Yeah, remember we caught the face? It was like a on video, right? It was just really strange. I like that one.
For me, most amazing. I've never seen an apparition or anything like that, so I'm pretty bummed out in that regard. But I've seen a lot of things move, which is really interesting too, because I think, how can you move it? There is such a thing that we're learning called dark matter, dark energy, you know, which basically the Earth's expanding. Or not the Earth, excuse me, the atmosphere, the molecular structure of the atmosphere, the Earth, but the atmosphere is expanding, you know, there's energy there pushing against things, so what if that could be a slip of that energy, you know, working against the gravity.
It's a very slow push, right?
Well, what's happening is, where gravity is at its peak of power, it's holding us here, you know. Dark energy hasn't quite reached that. It's very young. It's in its infant stage, you know. And but as it continues to grow, it will start to push on everything on the Earth's surface. So, what does this mean?
I'm just a fan.
No. Usually, when you go up to the front, there's an announcement.
I don't think so.
Okay. 2 more questions. Okay. See? Good. Now we have time for a few more questions. Yes, miss?
Okay, out of all the places that you guys have ever gone to and investigated, what's the one place that you've done the most times?
Out of all the places out of all the places we've investigated, which place have we done the most?
Waverly, right?
Waverly Hills as a team, I'd say. But I've been to certain places more than I've been to Waverly Hills individually. But as a team, you're probably right. Right to Waverly Hills at least 4 or 5 times. That place has never let us down. Although the last time we were there, we heard.
We caught some evidence.
Yeah.
We always catch evidence.
That's true. We always do.
Yeah. And one more.
How did tasks become chosen to do sci-fi, like, and not any other paranormal? Like, how was that?
That's a steep question. You were there.
Oh, yes. She asked how was TAPS chosen to do the show on sci-fi and not any other paranormal group. Well, not to toot our own horn, but even at that time before the show, we were still probably the largest paranormal group in the country, you know. And we were doing a lot of cases, and we were always educating, like doing, even 3 years prior to the show, you know, we did speaking engagements at Penn State and at I had done one at Duke University, and we were always, doing that sort of thing. But at one point, they did a case where they were able to disprove a haunting in the court of law at some regard, And that caught the eye of the New York Times, and they did a newspaper article on the team. And then it went out to The Wire, and it went all over the country, and a lot of different. And then all of a sudden, they started getting phone calls, Hey, it was a few different production companies saying, this would make a great show. I remember having a meeting with Jason Grant, and they're like, once we decided to do a show, we were pretty hesitant at first. But one production company in particular, Pilgrim Films, said to Jason, he said, we're going to do it, because we like the idea now. We never knew something like this existed where, plumbers and cops and teachers are at night going out investigating the paranormal. So we're going to do it with you guys or without, And so we figured, it would be best that we portray the field or another group. Not that any other group is inferior, it's just we wanted to make sure, our standards were shown. And so they decided to go with that production company, Pilgrim Films and Television. And they've been doing a lot of good shows. And then it was which network, between Discovery and Sci-Fi. And a few other networks or whatever, I don't really know too much about that, but there were a few networks, I guess, that were sort of involved in Sci-Fi, being the network they are, willing to sort of take chances on shows and take something that is just an idea and really make it pretty amazing. We went with that. They were gracious enough to have us. And, we did say, hey, let's do a season. Everyone's like, we'll see how it goes. So we did a season. And we thought maybe, it'd just be something cool to show our kids when we get older, hey, look at these 8 episodes of us, looking for the paranormal, it's awesome. But people really enjoyed it. So we got season 2 and season 3. And then by season 4, it became kind of like up to that point, it was sort of